maternal grandparents were Louis A. Robinson and Lucy Galt Robinson, so they were always Grandma and Grandpa Lou to both my sister and me. And he used to have a glass eye, which he got in an accident some way, but he played golf and things like that. But one of his things was that he'd ask us which we'd rather see. We were just little kids. He'd ask us which we'd rather see, whether he put his eye in or his teeth in. We always said both. And he started off sweeping out boxcars and ended up as the controller of the Chicago Northwestern Railroad. He was quite wealthy. They had upstairs maids and downstairs maids and laundresses and things like that. And he'd come touring to us. He had a chauffeur who was also a gardener, I guess, and he'd come to see us in his car. And then he'd ask us kids what we wanted. And he'd go and buy us whatever we said. Well, of course, we were too young. My cousins were older. They got bicycles. We didn't do so well. I can't remember anything we got from Grandpa Lou.
My first real real introduction to Mary Lou, I used to take my lunch in a brown bag, except it wasn't a brown bag. We couldn't afford them. We wrapped it in newspaper. And when we got through lunch, I would roll it up and throw it to the wastebasket. And first time I had anything to do with Mary Lou, I threw mine to the wastebasket as she was going by and hit her in the side of the head. So that was my first dealing with Mary Lou. So I whopped her real quick.
And Mother and her brother had a store in Charlotte, Michigan that Mother run, but it wasn't enough money, so Daddy went to work building the tunnel between Detroit and Canada, and he would come home late at night from that, and often Mother would be suspicious of people that had been in the store during the day, of robberies at night, and so she would hide the money, and she'd take my brother and sister and I, get on the bus and go to Royal Oak to a late movie. Our teachers didn't appreciate that. However, she might have saved our lives by doing that, and would come home when Daddy would be at our house. I don't remember the movies, but I remember it was an elegant theater. And whenever my dad would attend those movies with us, there'd be long lines. And I remember one time there was a lady with a long feather in her hat, and it kept swishing in his face, and he bit it off.
They'd wake you up about 4 o'clock, seemed like 3 to 4 o'clock. So we would finally get down the line, and we'd go to a briefing at this one hangar, and they'd tell us what we were going to do, pull the curtain back, show us. It was the first thing we knew where we were going. And then they'd take us on trucks out to the airplane, and we'd finally get the thing going, and by daylight we were all taking off, one right after the other. And then you go out to a certain point that's designated ahead of time, and then you'd make, if you was leading a crew like I did after about 8 missions, you just make a turn, and they'd all come up there and keep turning on you until you got in that squadron of 12, 13 airplanes would be together, and then there'd come another one, and then all 3 of them would get together, the lead crew and the other 2. And that's the way we bombed. We either bombed as a group or we bombed in 12 airplanes at a time. That's what they call for.